I called the police, and they said, how long has he been there? And I said, I've been gone about 2 weeks. And they said, well, this is a civil matter.
This is burglary. It's breaking and entering, okay? I mean, your possessions were stolen and sold out on your front yard. I mean, I'm outraged. I'm really unhappy because this shouldn't happen in Texas.
At the Texas Capitol, horror stories from all over the Lone Star State about squatters brazenly setting up camp in homes and then refusing to leave. As you just heard, the squatting epidemic has been placed on legislative missile lock by none other than Houston State Senator Paul Bettencourt, who is pledging a full-scale crackdown backed by new state law. Panel, apparently evicting intruders who've taken up residence in a vacant home can be an extremely difficult undertaking because current Texas law is riddled with loopholes squatters can exploit. Sue Lovell, you don't agree with Paul Bettencourt on a lot of stuff, but do you agree with him on this?
Absolutely. Having had rental property myself, you know, I mean, where's the trespass? There is a trespass law. It says, you know, if you're on my property and I ask you to leave, you must leave. And so hey, maybe people ought to just start posting signs up that have rental property and say, this is my property, and if you don't leave, I'm going to take action against you. No, it's absurd for that to happen. You know, they ought to go in and get them to move out.
Senator, what's your take here?
No, I agree with Senator Bettencourt. I don't agree with them a lot, but this one I do because, you know, this is an issue. If you own property, if they can, not only are they squatting, you have to pay taxes, but they destroy your property, so you have a huge cost. So, no, this makes a lot of sense. I hope they, you know, pass it through quickly.
Marcus.
Yeah, I tremor thinking about walking into any of my property and finding someone's there, and then I've got to go through the legal process of getting them out, and I've got to endure the cost of not being able to rent it out, and my home, my family sacrifices because of the income that's not coming in. I have for a while thought that this was garbage, and I'm glad we're doing something about it.
What about your business?
Oh man, that'd be a different story. That's where that AK.
Yeah.
AK-47 comes out.
Gary, is the law truly riddled with exceptions?
It is. I mean, and remember during COVID, we extended the time it took to evict people who weren't paying, because that was done by the city and I think maybe the county. Compassionate liberals who didn't want to screw these people over, but they're then screwing over hardworking people who have property. So that's the problem. And you can delay the process. So you have to, the process, you have to file a forcible entry and detainer action. It goes to JP court. JP courts are a zoo. There's a zillion people there for these hearings. You got to be there all day, so you spend a lot of money on legal
And they are
fees.
super behind.
Absolutely. And then if you beat the squatter, the renter who doesn't pay anymore, then they can have a chance to appeal. So then it goes to county courts, which slows things down. And depending on the judge, the bond could be low for them to appeal. So then they don't have to go anywhere during that time. So it's months and months and months and expenses, Marcus said, which is grossly unfair. We need a very strict law. You don't pay, you're out.
Go ahead, Sue. And then
Right. Well, there's a difference between also you have rental property and you have a contract with someone, and you go on vacation and you come home, someone's moved into your house. I mean, that's a big difference, you know, a huge difference. And if you come home and they're in your house, they ought to be able to just throw them out.
my colleague in Austin, Rudy Koski, pointed out that the governor tweeted that we have a real strong stand your ground law here. So was that a suggestion, Charles, that folks go in and take things into their own hands?
I wouldn't advise that. I mean, and he did tweet that and said squatting was an issue in Texas, and it is an issue in Texas. I mean, there are hundreds of cases in Harris County. There's about 400 in Dallas County. That woman, Terry Boyette, she testified that he destroyed her home, like you said, sold her property on her front lawn during a garage sale, and now the home is mold, water damage. She can't live in it. She's $150,000 in debt, and she has to live in Florida at her mother's place in the meantime and can't file for unemployment in Texas because she's not in Texas full time because somebody was living in her own home.
We need a
I finally got that guy out. Up next, from out